You were and your live location was no longer safe. Can you describe where you were and what was happening?
Yeah, Julie, it seems as though things have gone from bad to worse since we've been out here since this afternoon, really. We were down near the 3rd Precinct off East Lake Street and Minnehaha Avenue, and the flash bombs continued, the tear gas continued to flow, and that's when we noticed some of the properties around the area were being looted. We saw people going in and out of some of the little local liquor stores in the area, going in, stealing liquor bottles and whatnot. People were going into the auto zone, which you just mentioned is on fire right now as I'm talking to you guys. And we had to go a couple miles down the road down East Lake Street just to get away from the chaos, because the parking lot where we were parked at the U.S. Bank, well, the protesters headed down to that direction and started breaking into the bank of the parking lot where we were parked. The U.S. Bank windows are bust out right now as a result of people taking bats to the windows in that area. So we packed up all of our gear. We were just getting ready to set up to go live just out of the just from down the way from the 3rd Precinct, and we saw all of the people heading our way, running in our direction as the fire trucks and stuff were coming in, and we saw that they were going after some of the buildings in our area and even some of the cars in the parking lot where we were parked. So we packed up everything. We headed down. We are now out. We're about 2 miles out from the actual epicenter where everything is taking place right now. The smoke from the auto zone that's on fire right now, that alone was enough to cut your breath off while dying down anytime soon. As a matter of fact, people have been coming and going all day since we've been out here earlier today at 2 o'clock when the protests moved from 38th in Chicago to the 3rd Precinct here off of East Lake Street. So a very, very unfortunate situation unfolding out here tonight. And, many people I spoke with say that, I don't think this is what George Floyd would have necessarily, envisioned or wanted when it comes to people demanding justice on his behalf. So, a lot of things happening out here. And it's very unfortunate, for some of the businesses that have been destroyed, literally destroyed as a result of everything that's unfolded out here tonight. Julie?
So, Devon, as you were watching, I have 2 questions for you. The first is, were you noticing as night fell, did it seem the crowds were growing or were they getting smaller? Or maybe you couldn't tell from your perspective. And my second question is, when you saw the AutoZone, the Targets, the U.S. Bank windows being broken, was there any police presence around those areas that you saw tonight or not?
Well, to answer your first question, as the evening progressed, the crowd definitely grew larger. There were more people out here this evening as the sun was setting than there were earlier this afternoon, and it seems as though people are still coming. While we were back out there parked in the U.S. Bank parking lot, we saw droves of people coming down the street, heading in the direction of all of the chaos, the epicenter, if you will, of the protest. So, yeah, the crowd has definitely gotten larger, and it seems like, well, it's pretty obvious, actually, that the crowds have gotten a lot more hostile, if you will, with everything that's unfolding out here right now. And what was your second question? Sorry about that.
So did you notice any police presence around those businesses or in the neighborhoods? Or are they mostly centered around the 3rd Precinct building itself?
It's unfortunate. Many of the officers involved out here in the 3rd Precinct are really just stuck down there trying to man the epicenter of all of this. So, no, there were no police that were around some of the businesses that were being looted or the area that we were in. But what I will say, what was kind of nice was that there were some protesters who took it upon themselves to kind of block people from looting some of these businesses and trying to break into some of the businesses. One guy I spoke with, I asked him, I said, hey, do you own this shop here, this tobacco shop? And he said, no, but I'm just sick of what is unfolding out here right now. This is not why we are out here. This is not what we're asking for. So there are people on the flip side of this who, want to protest peacefully and are taking it upon themselves to kind of keep the peace and order, if you will, out here.
Yeah, so would you say, I know you've been out there all day, Devon, and would you say that earlier today it was mostly peaceful, and as it's gotten later into the evening, it has taken a dark turn? And would you say that there are still a lot of peaceful protesters out there tonight, or is it just kind of devolved into mayhem?
It's kind of devolved into mayhem. I will say we started our coverage out on 38th and Chicago, which is where the initial arrest took place of George Floyd. And it was really peaceful out there this morning, actually. They had a couple people who came in from Chicago, and they were kind of spearheading everything this morning. They were had a peaceful protest going on. They had their bullhorns out. They were chanting different things, and people were coming and laying flowers and pictures and whatnot at the makeshift memorial that they made out on the street where everything took place. But then around 2 o'clock, they made the announcement that the protest was going to move to the 3rd precinct, and it seems as though from 2 o'clock on is when